All right, guys, what do you think of that? Yes, we had a little bit of a glitch. However, the very first time that we've had the beginning of the show where we've actually had an impactful songs. My name is Tamara Hunter, and this is the Service Hero Show 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. Today is June the 19th, and I have a service hero that I am excited to be sharing with everybody. Let me tell you, he's my Canadian brother. Yes, he is. In fact, we share the Stage Warrior logo together. He is the lap style guru. His name is Preston Martelly, and you know what? I'm not going to make him wait much longer and make you guys wait. We are going to be introducing my dear friend. Let's bring him up to the screen. Let's see. Here we go. Preston.
Hey, Tamara, how you doing?
I'm so glad that I'm doing great. And in fact, I am so thrilled to have been able to share that experience with you. It had a little bit of a glitch, but not big. And you were the one that pointed me to the direction of finding the intro video, but being able to, customize it in a way that Tamara could do it. That's what you do. And
Amazing.
and
Amazing.
you did, and thank you. Wasn't that fun?
That looks awesome. Thank you so much for taking action.
Oh, thank you. It's like what we talk about, we've been talking about for the last couple of years as we've been working together, is that action is really where it's at. And
Right.
that's what I love about the program that we work together with, what you do, what I do with all of our team. And like Don McGrath, that one of the co-founders, he's always, success rewards action. You're right. That's
Exactly. Very
always what
true.
he's always talking about. I want to recognize some people real quickly that are here. We have Mikey Adam Cohen. I'm glad you're here, my dear. And I got
Hey,
your
Mikey.
message. Thank you very much. Let me just tell you, he's been with us with Chemo Buddies since nearly the beginning. He's one of my very best friends. And he right now is preparing to get the Chemo Buddies message out there that much more with how we are impacting COVID and helping, those that are feeling isolated and alone and suffering through this, and how we're helping to ease that suffering. So thank you for what you're doing, Mikey. Absolutely adore you. Let's see, got your journal yesterday. Awesome. The celebration journal. You see right back here. And now we've got Helene. Helene is one of our buddies, and she is actually our ambassador of the chat that we have every evening. And she welcomes everybody also for the Service Hero Show. Thank you for doing that, my dear. And it takes a team, it takes a village, right?
Definitely.
So let's talk about you, and then we're going to talk about everything that's going on. And one thing I didn't bring up that I just am so excited about is that one of your specialties, I mean, you have so many of them, but it's like, what don't you do? But
Tech-
one of your specialties is that you are excellent in branding. You work with the branding and with the website, the SEO, how to be able to get it out there in a way that it's representing you
Right.
uh, for the right wheel well that you are in your lane. The things that sometimes people don't think about, you know how to do it on the front end and the back end, and you help many, many people too. And you right now are in the midst of helping me to finally get the Tamara L Hunter like hub together, right?
And together. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, like you said, like it seems like I'm good at a lot of things, out there, just because I've really honed in, what my specialty is, and it's really around branding, and specifically branding online, right? Within its own, there's so much work to be done there, and fortunately, it's a part that a lot of people don't like doing. They don't like dealing with the technical parts of broken passwords or broken links. And I'm totally comfortable in that space. And it gives me a bit of a superpower because it's something that I like doing, I'm good at doing, and it helps a lot of people get over a hurdle, which usually stops them from going where they want to be in their business. I can help them get over that hurdle and really start to get a steady flow of leads, right? That's what I'm all about, is just getting a steady flow of leads where you can turn on, turn off whenever you need.
Right. And the genius of this, because I've watched you with helping the members within the Speakers Pathway Coalition family, and everything from those that have movements such as mine,
Yeah,
the Angel Maries, the Shine-Ons of the world, and then those that have practices or that are out
local
there.
businesses.
Right. Or those that are authors and they really
Right.
want to get their books out, but they need that online presence. There's so many different types of individuals, and each one of them, their avatar. And I didn't even know what an avatar was, Preston, until the very first time. I remember that night we were having pizza in the basement of someone's Airbnb. We had just all met, and you and Jay were like, oh yeah, and Monique, oh yeah, we can go until midnight. And Dawn and Jim and I are like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And then you guys start in on the Avatar, and I'm thinking that's a movie. I know that, and you're like a little different. And so you also help to educate what it is that to set someone up out
Right.
there on the internet, because many times we don't know that we don't know. And so I have watched and then heard the results, because you need to be able to talk to people in plain English, like the
Yeah,
Tamara
their
language,
language. Yeah.
and then be able to go and do what you do. And that's where I believe your genius is, if I can brag about you some more as a service hero, because you not only do that, but you help people to understand why it's important without making it such a big deal. Like with me, it could be, okay, now I get it. Why haven't I been doing it so far?
Right.
And you don't hold it against anyone, which I want to
Yeah.
say thank you for, because that's big.
Well, it's an important message that I wasn't doing that initially in my brand. It wasn't something that I did. I would think that, everybody loves talking about pixels and passwords, logins and websites and all that kind of stuff. And then I would get that deer in headlights look, right? It's just because,
Yeah.
I've been studying for, 10,000 hours. So of
Uh-huh.
course it's become second nature to myself, to like people like Jay and Monique and stuff like that, because that's what we do on a day-to-day basis. But whenever you're talking to a potential client, and that's not just a message for me, but that's about anybody out there who has a product or a brand or a message to share. You want to craft that message in a way that as little as a 5th grader would understand, a 5th grader,
Right.
right? So really break it down into basic terms. And that's what I really took time to do, is to think of, people hear about a lot of people feel overwhelmed right now with online marketing, right? Because you got to be on social media, and you got to have a website, and you got to be on YouTube, and you got to be doing live streams, and you got to be doing podcasts. My gosh, it takes a team to do that, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I do it,
Right.
but I've got a team, right?
Right.
So you've got it. So what we want to do is just really break down, what people's end goals are. So what is your ultimate goal, right?
Right.
For a lot of people, it's just simply, I need leads, right? So I need name, email, phone number, right? And then once we understand what that is, we step back and we go all the way through, and we create what's called a sales funnel for them, of how you can move people through. And then we
Mm-hmm.
put all those other things that's causing the noise out there, into the right place, right? We will show them
Right.
what's a traffic source, what's a funnel, what's a lead magnet, and how do you get paid, right?
Right.
Put
Right.
them in place.
Right. And I'll say this for those that are out there. Okay, so Avatar. Okay, the Avatar. So again, that in my mind, movie, well, yes, it is. However, really think about the end goal. Okay, that person
Right,
that you want to be working with, or like in my case, a nonprofit, we want to be serving. And in our case, we want to be serving an avatar, but then we need the avatars that are going to want to donate and sponsor and be affiliates and those type of things, right? And
right.
so those, and that translates back to that in that meeting where I'm like, I was the deer in the headlight and tired because we've been up all day long and doing stuff. And then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I'm going through education. However, what I now am so thrilled about in working with everybody, having so many amazing specialty people that we have, of which Dr. Sony Jackson, she's helping too,
Yes.
and she's one of our teammates, and
Sony's awesome. One of the best copywriters I know out there.
exactly. And so we have these amazing individuals that are just good people to hang out with. And I absolutely love, in fact, I captured a couple of just fun pictures of, I know some of these are like different ones, but I'm just going to kind of like be sharing them.
The fun days.
Yeah, right. And so
there's Jade, there's Bill.
Yeah, and then we've got the team, and
there's Angel.
Yeah.
Man, bring back some memories.
Whenever we
was that Colorado?
Let's see, one of them is Colorado. Both of them are Colorado, but two different times.
All right.
Yeah, and then I got a Phoenix. You're not in this one, but it's the girls, and it was just like, okay, we got to show that we have fun, and because we really do, and when you think about the people that have come together, and I want to say also publicly to you and to the full team, without getting too emotional about it, I had to take some time because of running for the next impactor, and then what I've been doing. So I kind of took a bit of a leave of absence, and you guys were like, no, you're not leaving. You can have the time off. Right. Yeah. But then come back because we want you to be a part of the team. And that really, that's when, guys, someone's got your back, is because, it's how easy is it to say, okay, well then go ahead and go. No, we'll cover it because we only have so many. We'll cover it and then come back, and then we'll work together and we'll help a lot of people. And so, I'm publicly saying that thank you to you and to our full team. And I want to do that individually with everyone, because it really makes a difference when when times get tough. And right now, let's just be face it, you're in Canada and I'm in Southern California, and we are involved in a worldwide pandemic, and we're coming out of it, we think, and there's so many other things happening in different parts of the world right now. And yet, when you know that people have your back,
so important. So important. We got you.
Yeah, and vice versa, and this is what is so important to understand. And I wanted to let people out there know that are thinking about, wow, I'm thinking about doing this, I'm thinking about doing that. And you really need to look at not only you're doing it, but who are you going to be doing it with? Because when you are doing it with a team that truly cares, a team of amazing individuals, but on top of it are just really heart-centered,
right?
Or whatever it is that you are, and is important to you, that's who you want on your team. And so I just wanted to publicly acknowledge you and the full team.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It comes from, we got good leaders there, both, Don and Jim, they definitely, set a good example for all of us, and it just kind of trickles down.
Absolutely. Exactly. You can't get much better than the two of them. And they're so in many ways different, and yet they really do put together a full team. And then you just gotta look at, with Dawn, you get the full team of the McGrath household, and then and then with Jim, it's like you're almost, in many ways, you get the whole veterans community too with him.
Yeah.
Right. And I just want to bring everybody up to speed. So we've got people, and I've got my one of my senior ambassadors with us right now. Good afternoon, love and kisses and positive energy to you also. We've got some others of our group, fellow Hello to my fellow warriors. Yes, as I have to say, Preston, in taking the time to really work with the nonprofit, we have really built such an incredible, right there, welcome to the family. That says it
Yeah,
all. That says it
I
all,
love it. I
right?
love it.
Right. And
I'm reading all the comments here. It's making me all teary eyed.
it
It's
does.
awesome. Everybody's so engaging. I love it.
And this is just the tip of the iceberg, because I moved the show to the page. I figured with the branding, which I
Yeah.
want to talk about that, with the branding and rebranding of Service Heroes to go along with what you are helping, you and Sony and others, because I have to say, like, this branding here, the logo, I got help from my board member, Skip Thomas.
It
um,
looks amazing.
yeah, and he's an Emmy award winning film, director, videographer, and such. But he also worked with branding for years and years and years for big, huge brands, like, big names that you would recognize. And so I was really lucky, because I said, okay, I need to do this. It's time. I went to the team. I said, okay, Preston, what do you think? And and then it was like, well, we'll have it be the hub, right? But
Hmm.
then we'll do it, and so that it will point to all the different brands.
Exactly.
So let's talk about that. When people come to you,
Right.
and they're like me, like a Tamara, that before I got involved in this, I like I told you, and people laugh about it, but it's true. I thought you had to buy a hashtag,
Yeah.
right?
Thank God you don't. Thank God you don't.
And in fact, it was because of you and Jay that I learned that you just go and register your hashtags, right?
Right.
In fact, we did it that night. That
Yeah.
very night we're talking about,
Yeah.
we registered this one, Stage Warrior, right? And
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. You got out your computer, you're like, oh, it's available. Okay, done. We got it.
Registered. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So when someone comes to you, how do you I know how you do it, but I think it needs to be talked about, because you're amazing. You help to take, like you said, the noise away.
Right. So yeah, so when we talk about avatars, so avatars are certain characteristics that people have, and I'll let you guys know there are two key avatars we get. So they're either people who come to me completely brand new. They're just they have an idea, they want a product they want to launch, and these ones are usually pretty fun because I can just identify that's the heart and soul of the brand, which is they have a product they want to get into market. They have an idea of who they want to market it to, and then we have a discussion around that, like how are we going to get it to market, right? So that's one. They come with a clean slate. That's perfect. I can put into the cup what I think they need to have in that cup. Then the other avatar are those that have been doing it for sometimes a couple months or maybe a couple of years, and they come to me with almost a cup full, right? The cup is overflowing because got um, it's funny. We have some of them with like I just had a call today, and it was funny because we had a Facebook account logged in with one Gmail account. We had an Instagram logged in with another email that doesn't exist anymore. We had things all over the place, and I can understand it's frustrating for me, and I understand how this stuff works. I could imagine how somebody who's not in on all the technology is feeling, because you just have stuff all over the place because they come into you at different times where you heard, okay, Instagram's a new thing, I need to create one, right? And you go in and create it, and you have that little button that says sign in with Google. Hey, why not? Let's sign in with right, or let's sign in with Facebook, and I have no idea how to use this thing again, right? So that is the other avatar. So what we have to do in that case is first we got to align everything for them, right? So we got to go back to the basics. All right, what is your goal? What is the core product that you want to start selling, right? And I know you might have 5 or 6 brands or stuff, but we got to focus on one, right? Because remember, we need a budget to be able to do all the multiple ones after, right?
Right.
So we start off by identifying what is the core product that you're trying to sell, and then we try to help them define that product in a way that a 5th grader can understand it, right? a doctor, a lawyer. These things we can explain very, very simply, and a fifth grader can understand it. So once we understand what is the core product that they're selling, then we go to the next step as identifying, who is their ideal customer, who is their dream customer, right? And if you think about it, a lot of people say to me, "Hey, everybody's my potential customer," right? And two problems with that. Number one, to be able to market to everybody is very expensive, and we probably don't have a budget to be able to reach everybody. And number two, if you try to market to everybody, you end up marketing to nobody, right? So you kind of want to identify who is my dream customer. Are you selling a low ticket item? Are you selling a high ticket item? Is your product more geared towards males or towards females? Can you serve customers globally, or can you only serve them within your state or within your city or within a 5 kilometer radius of you, right? So we've got to kind of think of all these things that break down an avatar. And I have an exercise that I go through with them. It's actually pretty cool. It's a chat bot that you can find on my website, and it goes through. I did it. You did it, right? You see, and it's pretty fun, right?
Yeah, it was fun. It was fast. It was easy, and I was fascinated also with the chat bot. Not only the questions, but then like, oh, this is fun. I like it. It's like, oh, this, and so again, that's where embracing all the new and learning the fun, and you walk them through, and it's and. I have to say, yeah, I have been able to do it because you have been successful in talking to me as the fifth grader.
Right. And that way, because when I come into your world, right, and you got to explain things to me, like, look, I'm a digital marketer, and I'm blown away by this whole Be Live thing. This is the first time I'm using it. It's so cool, and you would have to explain it to me like I'm a fifth grader because this is all new to me. Right. And you always got to think about that is when you're explaining it to somebody, you got to, not dumb it down, but you got to take into consideration that person has a lot of other things going on in their life. They have a lot of other things to think about. They have learned about all kinds of bits of information out there. And now I've got to, simplify it for them.
Right. And in fact, I'm going to bring up here because you were saying that this is something that I picked from your page, and I thought how appropriate this is, because this is who I see you as part of you, and that is lead people, walk behind them, and and you help people to shine. Like when we are together with some of the membership, when we have been in the larger groups, and then we have the little masterminds with some of them, and we're really helping them. Like, what is the issue? You and Sony and a few of the others are the ones that are, and I'm sitting there and I'm learning. I'm like taking notes, like, okay, yes, okay, that was a good question. I can't wait to hear the answer, because, and then you're helping, like, okay, this has really been working now in doing this and shifting this and then coming up with that. That is where they will then shine. And then you are doing it front and center, because like, we had a contest and you won, and you ended up with like you got to go and pick the things you wanted, and you picked the green screen and such, because you were like, okay, yeah, I am behind. Yeah, I am going out there so I can share the message, and your energy and your fun and your enthusiasm and just all of it, that's contagious. It was mentioned by Mikey about energy being contagious.
Thanks, Mikey.
Yeah, and you are, and so I really wanted to point this out because you have both going on.
Yes. Yeah. So one of the really cool things, that quote is pretty awesome, and it makes me think about it, as being a dad. So I got the kids, and right now they are the age of riding, right? So riding the bike. So that analogy that I had when I was on the road with them the other day really comes back to my business, and something I try to employ in the business as well. In that, when I'm out riding with them, a leader would normally be in front of them, right? But when I'm leading in front of them and we got cars, I'm always stressed out. I'm always worrying about what's happening because I can't see them behind me. Is somebody trailing way behind? Are they close? Did they make it through the intersection or stuff like that? But being a leader as a dad, and also being a leader in business, the much better position to be in is to kind of, be at the back of the pack, right? And they showed an analogy like that with the wolf pack as well. And you really want to be from the back, watching them in front, and then giving directions. You might be yelling up front where to go, but you letting them kind of discover the path on their own, give them enough freedom for them to go forward. But if there's a problem, you can jump right in front, and you know what to do to save them from danger.
That's a great analogy.
Little Brady Bunch.
Yes, I know that they're a little littler here, but I thought, these were just so adorable because you're so cute with your kids, and the one with the snakes, I have to say, I saw that one, and then I actually picked a few others because when you were on your trips, and we'll go into that in just a moment, and how you've been able to take your business on the road. But let's finish this thought here in that you going out there on stage, you're excellent on stage, may I just say. You really are. And on radio, on podcasts, on all of this, because you know your stuff, and you got a great energy and personality, and you just can come across, like, you can be in the moment, finding out what it is that they want to talk about, and then you just can show up with Preston, being Preston, it is great. And
Thanks.
You're welcome. And that in itself, I think, is really unique and very, we need more doses of Preston out there, because right now, especially like what is happening in the world, this is a time where we can either say, okay, because I've been dating these shows now, June the 19th, 2020. What's happening today? A lot. Like news articles about my neck of the woods. If you haven't seen them yet, you're probably going to hear about them in the next 24 to 48 hours. Riverside, California. Okay, enough said. And so when you look at all of that, right now there's a shift, there's pivoting that's taking place. And a lot of people were pivoting before because they saw, like you were saying, Instagram, Zoom, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever platforms, and they may have been really rocking it, or they may have been dabbling in it. However, when the shift took place, and the shifting that is taking place, a lot of people ended up having to, like, oh, I can't, and even Speakers Pathway did, okay, we can't go and do the face-to-face stuff right now, but however, we can shift right now. We can have events online. We can do this. We can do that. We can take it out there, and we don't have to miss a beat. However, not everybody was ready for that. Not everybody, and a lot of people were just like overwhelmed. And you right now, the dose of Preston, in that you're letting people know it's okay. You don't have to be overwhelmed, right?
Yeah, it's okay. I think it's funny. This pandemic, had a lot of realizations for a lot of people. The biggest thing it realizes is how isolated I had been up until then, right? Because the whole world goes into panic. Literally, the whole world goes into panic, and I'm just like, it's business as usual, right? Because I've been, working from home, doing everything by these communications online, doing my interviews online, and so forth. I've been doing that for quite a few years. Actually, when we traveled a year, I'd gone a year and I hadn't seen a customer physically, in that entire time. So it really just comes to open the show that how far we've evolved as a world. A lot of this stuff can be done, online, right, to minimize travel and stuff like that. But let's not forget, there is still that connection piece that happens, right? Because you and I, a lot of those, those hearts to hearts we've had, or those talks where we really dug into it, is when we did it face to face. So there's definitely a huge time and place for that, for it. But let's not, because we're at home, let's not think that it's coming to an end, right? There are ways that we can communicate, there are ways we can get out there, that we can have impact, we can share our messages online, just as well as we can do it in person, and to a much bigger audience, right? We're 3 time zones away from each other.
Right. And that's the thing that I'm so glad you brought up, because that is the charm right there. Right. That is that, my knees are going off. This is the thing that right now, as a service hero today in Preston, on June the 19th, 2020, you are right now with that amazing smile and energy, sharing that, hey, look at it in a whole different way, guys. Right now,
Yeah.
let's look. Let's throw the way that you might have been looking if it was, making you like down. Look at the opportunity, and a lot of my friends, and I've been studying forever now, it seems like, but the NLP stuff, that our minds will not remember if we were in the same room with some of the conversations that you and I have had, because we have been, or
Yeah.
if that conversation was one of the ones we had online. Our minds are not going to remember that, because they're going to remember the face-to-face communication. And the
Right.
fact that we have that right now on the internet is the thing that we need to say, okay, all is well. All is
Yes.
well. Just need to make sure that we're not overwhelming ourselves. And I will say, guys, total disclosure, I have overwhelmed myself at times, and you and others have been generous to say, okay, let's revisit this. What is it that you can take off your plate and automate, or you can, get help with, and other things that you can continue with? Because sometimes when we come from maybe the older generation, wink wink, yes, that we didn't grow up with the internet. We didn't grow up with the smartphones. We didn't grow up with some of the things that the younger generation that are out there and rocking it right now, take it for granted. And so then we think of the old school way of doing stuff. And that
Right.
old school, we don't have to go there anymore. We can actually have a life.
Yeah.
Like I look at this, and even, where you're like all over the place, and your business goes with you.
Yeah. Yeah. That first one is St. Lucia. That's where I was actually born. So that's my hometown. And that other one is in Colombia, in a place called Guatapé. That's a huge rock beside me in the back there. It's I think one of the largest rocks in the world. It's crazy. Yeah.
Amazing.
And
and
able to work.
and you've been able to take your family with you on many adventures, right?
Yeah. That's in Sri Lanka. We're gonna go on a safari. He said that was pretty cool. We got to see elephants, and it was pretty fun experience. It was a year of world education, priceless.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then you took that and made a presentation on stage and
Yeah.
likened it. I'll never forget. It was beautiful the way that you put it all together. You had all these different, and I got to see you putting it together on the slides, at
Yeah.
the Airbnb that we were hanging out at. And so you're getting it all put together. Then you put it up, and you're able to then take your personal experiences and then show how someone can have the laptop
Laptop lifestyle.
lifestyle. There we go.
Yeah.
And not have to miss a beat in your business online, yet you can do it wherever it may be. And this was, of course, when you could travel, and now some traveling restrictions have been lifted, not completely everywhere, but it shows wherever you may be, if you have internet access, you can continue your business. You won't be missing a step there, yet you can still experience life, and you can take your kids. You decided to
Yeah.
take your kids to do that. And then you showed how you kind of like, okay, now we were here now, and you're doing these lines now, this corresponds with this, and it's a business, action or activity or concept or app or, technology or whatever it may be, but you were able to make it. And so I'm like, anybody can do that,
Yeah. It
right?
is. It's what Don taught us as being part of Speaker's Pathway was, you got to, if you can find a way to tie your messages to a story, it becomes more memorable. And I'm really happy that you remember that, because I was talking
Yeah.
about branding, branding and marketing, which I got pretty techie in that conversation, but I kept it interesting because you guys saw pictures of all the places that we went and traveled to, and it probably made a connection in your head,
Oh,
right?
right, it did. Yeah, yeah, because you were taking us on like a world trip,
Yeah.
And then you likened it, yes, to the branding. That's right. And then how that then, and I remember, truthfully, it goes back to the stories. I remember many of the stories more than I remember some of the technical
The
pieces
message.
of it. However, what it did, and guys, this is a great study in a way. What it did was, it, in my brain, it made me let me know Preston is the man for the laptop lifestyle, and that you can do business anywhere, and he did it with his family. That was my take home message. And if nothing else, that if everybody that was in that room, because that, I think, was the vet when we were doing the that was that the vet one, um one of the ones that we did together. And
Yeah, that was in
when,
Colorado Springs, I think.
yeah, Colorado Springs. And so when you did that, then it was a matter of, okay, um if I have a question, I contact him. That was
Yeah.
basically it. That's what I remember. And that's what you want,
Right.
right? In the very beginning. And
Exactly.
and that is why I wanted to also recognize you today in saying that you're helping me to now, it's like that second generation in a way. Like, okay,
Right.
Tamara, we're going to do this, and then this is why we're going to do it. We're going to take it out there. So, guys, as you're watching what's happening with the Tamara L Hunter brand, you're going to now know the man that, behind, like the dad that was behind the kids on the bikes, right? The story that he is going to be that dad behind the brand, and the website and everything that we're going to be doing here very shortly.
Awesome. And it's going to be your creation because you pretty much put it together. And with the confidence that I'm back, I'm behind you to keep you safe.
That's right, and I love it. And Skip, this is Skip. He's the one that helped with the Skip. Meet Preston, meet Skip. Skip is
Skip,
the one,
awesome job, buddy.
yeah, that helped with the
on
the,
point.
the logo and the branding for Service Heroes. And it gets really exciting. And is this like what it's like every single time you work with any of your customers, when they start seeing the magic of everything come together? Because there's a lot of homework involved.
Yeah. There's a lot, and it's part where for it to be successful, we have to put both of our parts together, right? I understand the how to, the science behind it. You guys definitely bring, the art. Like I can't write your about me section, right? I still need bullet points from you. I still need, you to do what you do, but I can put all the technical parts together for it to keep you going and keep you in the right direction. So I love it. I'm very proud when I see you doing things like you created that intro. That's that logo intro. That makes me feel so good. I'm just as proud as you. I feel like a proud daddy here because I know we talked about it a couple of days. You asked for some direction. I gave you a couple pointers. You took action, and now you have something that you feel so proud of because you did it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You
And
did
at
it.
the end, you guys stay to the very end because you're going to have an exit one too. And so
Yeah.
it's just like so fun because
Yeah.
and then we're doing it for and sure Sherry McQueen and I last night after our chat, because our nonprofit has a chat every single evening. And so I told you, I've got all of these different ones that I need to do. So I did one for Thankful Thursday. That's the Thursday night one. And we were not able to get it loaded in time to get it to be used for this week, but we're going to be using it for next week. So we were playing with it, and it was like, oh, this is fun. And so we're going to have one for each one of the nights. And and what does that do? It brings that excitement. And also, in truth, when you have that little extra, it brings that polish or professionalism, or someone's taking it serious, or it's a gift to the community, or whatever it may be. But it is that extra step to say, I care,
Right.
right?
The heart. The heart.
Exactly. The heart. And for those
Or
that
the
have,
millennials go, little heart.
Oh yeah, there you go. I love it. You very good. You can tell you're a dad of girls. Very fun, and and also for the businesses that are out there, and there's so many of them right now. Again, that there's some that it depending on what they were doing pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, pre-world change, and the pivoting that's been taking place. But a lot of people can think outside the box. A lot of people can say it's maybe a little different, but not necessarily completely different. And when they start seeing it come together, because it can be overwhelming, it can be like, I just don't know what to do. And then when they're given the homework, like, okay, it's not as big, it's not as difficult as you think. However, you do have to do some things, but you point them in, okay, all I need is this. And then
Mm-hmm.
they start seeing it come together.
You're right. That's when the magic happens.
Right, right. It's just, yeah, and I can only imagine that you're like the proud papa on multiple different levels and with a lot of different groups now and a lot of companies and group, like even within Speakers Pathway, I know that some of the different members with some of the different things that they're doing,
Yeah.
how can you not get excited about one that's connecting with the UN, and then this one that's now out there and has found their place, and they're working with this group, or it's like all of these that are having the successes that they are, and you start to see, wow, that energy of I'm doing it.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
riding the bike, Dad.
It really, it feels amazing, and I'm so honored to be part of that. For so many people, so many aspiring entrepreneurs, to see them put their brand together and get that excitement of having starting a business is kind of like having a baby, right? Like you get all excited and you see the potential and you're full of optimism. So it's really great to be part of that, and I'm really happy that I'm blessed with a skill that can help people get over that initial hump and get through the process of getting their dreams online.
Well, and I'm going to share this. Okay, so you just were on featured, and I love this first. I look at this, the vintage social media, and I talk about when long time ago I was involved in recruiting, and we were recruiting like administrative assistants and such, and they were like, your jobs are going to be a thing of the past. We have something like a computer coming and this and that. People were like, no, they're always going to want that human touch and stuff. And now to see that image, and I thought, oh, how funny. It's now full circle.
It is.
And the vintage social media, yeah, Skype, that's an old-fashioned phone, and
It's funny, the vintage is actually getting vintage.
yeah.
Right?
Right. Now the newer ones are now vintage. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's like,
We got Skype and put Zoom. We got to take out what's that? We've got what's another old one on here? Foursquare. I guess Foursquare is still kind of around. We got to put Yelp.
Well, some really like that one.
Yeah.
But and then you are out there now as you're sharing this as an expert, subject matter expert, and being able, and you've been helping certain groups now to really take their platform that was face to face and find ways to pivot it, and so that they don't miss a lot of steps, and they've taken it and put it online and getting just as good of response, if not better now, right?
Exactly. You a lot of businesses, when this started happening with COVID-19, they were really in a state of panic, and it's understandable. Like everything's shutting down, and if you're used to having a business where it was face to face, I can understand why and you're not aware of that you have that sheet in front of you, so you don't know what the other side looks like. I could see why a lot of people would be very concerned, but to me it was just, oh my gosh, no, now we open it up to a global market instead of just a one or two, because if I was to have a mastermind, I could only do it with people within probably 5 or 10 kilometers from me. But if we do it online, I can invite people. I have clients all over the world, right? And a lot of them are probably going to be chiming into watching this video, over the next couple of days. And it's amazing platform, because if I had an interview with you face to face, it's only the people in the room that would see it, right?
And we've been there
all over the world.
We've been there. In fact, you, I think, have done it. I am going to be doing it soon, and that is because we were at one of those events. You traveled from Canada. I drove over from Southern California, and we went to Phoenix. And we were expecting like this big group of people, and there was all sorts of issues that day with, all sorts of other things that kind of got in. We had all sorts of people that were supposed to show up, and then
that could make it for 101 reasons.
Yeah. And so we had a small group, and so there was a change and pivot, and at first I think people were like, "Oh, that was not very successful." However, what came out of that is pretty darn exciting. I cannot wait to start implementing it, and that is to be able to get your message out there in a short amount of time and affect,
Effectively.
Yeah, you have the internet. There is no four walls and seats and tables that you have to plan for, and you can only have so many in because of the fire marshal. Your possibility of touching people is actually, it's in, if you go into Evergreen, it's endless. And so that, what you're explaining about the interview face to face versus the internet, that is where we're pivoting right now. And I'm thinking, is it ever going to completely go back? And I think it's going to be a hybrid, is what I'm thinking. What do you think?
A lot of people have taken a taste of why I'm always smiling. not having to worry about traffic or gas prices going up. Or I just pick a day of the week that gas prices, and that's the one time a week or maybe every bi-weekly that I fill up, because I don't have to travel as much. And the times when I go out to visit customers, I'm in the city, and I'll do a face to face, because I still love these face to face interactions. But I can get so much more accomplished on a day-to-day basis by doing these kind of meetings, right? I bet you won't believe I was on a strategy call with a customer 10 minutes before this call happened. And now I'm on a live with you all the way in California. Imagine if I had to travel out to see you.
Oh, I know.
The entire day was done.
Oh yeah, right? At least, right? At least, and exactly, and in fact, I had a last minute change of someone that needed to come. I needed someone to come into the chat with me, and she was saying, "Well, I've got another appointment at a certain time," and I'm like, is that an appointment where you have to travel to, or is that an appointment online? And the fact that it was online, it was like, oh, well, we've got it. We'll just have you leave 10 minutes early. You can prepare for it, and you're good. Right. And it reminds me of the days when we were sitting. I was a recruiter, and I remember sitting in a room where we were all like, should we buy a fax machine? That was before computers. A fax machine. It was a big, huge, investment, and we were wondering, would it make a lot of sense? And then when we got it, I was thinking, I don't have to get in my car and drive a resume to a company anymore, because at one point in time, long ago, that if you wanted someone to have something that day, you almost had to do it. You had to drive it, or you had to have a messenger do it, or something. And now you just instantaneous.
Wow, let me tell you, technology has its pros and cons, but that's definitely one of the pros.
Yeah. So, I didn't know what this was. So I actually just wanted to ask a couple of questions. And it looks like, are you teaching here?
Yeah, so I'm a guest speaker at that's one of the colleges in Ottawa, and they've been having me back for, I think, probably going on my 4th or 5th year. They an entrepreneurship class I usually get invited into, and a social media class where they just bring me in to talk to the students about, all right, this is the stuff you guys are learning in school. This is somebody who actually does it. And I usually can come in, and I probably leave the teachers more going, oh, we got to update the curriculum every single time I come in. The year before, they rewrite things, and then it's a completely new message the next year. So it's one of the fun things. That's me in a class, and I think I was showing them how to create a business page on Facebook.
And how important is that? In fact, I just was having a discussion with a gentleman out of Bangladesh that they have so many people that are graduating from college, yet they don't have the transferable skills to be able to be an entrepreneur or even sometimes to go into business. And so they've got so many highly educated people, yet they don't really have the, they need that standard of income coming in. And so they can raise the living abilities
Right.
in that particular country. And I'm just so impressed with what he's doing. Okay, so what's the uniform?
Oh, that's my I should say my hobby, not my hobby, my volunteer side of things. So I play the saxophone, and
Oh, that's
I'm part of the Ottawa Firefighters band. So that was at an event that we were doing on Canada Day, and yeah, that's my pastime right over here. So I get to I get to play with these guys, an amazing group of gentlemen. That they're all musicians. We get to do some really cool things. Actually, I think it was about 2 years ago. We got to travel to Italy, right?
oh
And we got to
wow.
I was in a traveling band because I went to Italy with them, and we played over there for quite a few days. It was through the festival, and we got
Uh-huh.
to explore the beautiful side of the world. And again, while I was traveling, I would, because it was nighttime, I would work in the evenings to keep in touch with all my business. I didn't stop. Most of my customers knew I was leaving for a couple of days, but I didn't stop working. I kept working. I would check in at night. I had a really amazing team that was supporting me back home, and I was able to travel without having. Oh, there we are. There we go. That's in Italy with my wife. I took my wife and I went to Italy, and that's me playing saxophone in the night, and then in the evenings I would be online with my clients, helping them grow their brands.
How fun. In fact, okay, so that's why Brian, when you were talking about Brian Thompson and that you love his music, that I remember you really loving that music. In fact, we have coming into our small group today, our closed group for TGIF. I'll have to have you in. We have people come in and do music with us and visit with us on Friday nights and make it fun. And one of our he's a support person that has helped us very openly and publicly. But he's a professional smooth jazz guitarist, and
Ooh,
it's Joel Del Rosario. I don't know if you know him, but he's here in the
wow.
States, and he's written a lot of stuff on his own. He's published on his own, and then he's also backed up some of the big ones for the smooth jazz world. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, he's going to
Well,
be
I
in there
remember
tonight.
we were together. I think when we were one of the trips we took together a few years ago for speaking. We were together, and I was talking about your friend Brian Thompson. Well, I was
Yes,
listening to the stuff on the phone, and you're like, "I
like
know
that.
him."
Yeah, that sounds so very familiar. Yeah, yeah. So Brian, and in fact, that's how I met Brian, was through Mikey Adam
Right.
Cohen. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, it's small world. So,
Yes.
I've been doing this and I'm going to do it with you because you just have so much wisdom and wonderful, nuggets to share. I'm going to take myself down from the line for just a few moments and let you talk to everybody and whatever you're feeling inspired to say, just share something. And then I'll bring myself back up and we'll close out the show uh, in just a few moments.
All right. So inspired. So from the heart. So what I'd like to share with a lot of people is a lot of things happening in the world, particularly in North America right now, that not the best situations. A lot of things to feel down about, and somewhat to kind of make you think. But it's in the end of the day, it's like COVID. When this first started, a lot of people were thinking like this was the end of the world. And I was fortunately thinking of it. We're gonna get past it, right? And we want to start to prepare ourselves now for when COVID is kind of moving more behind us, that we set up ahead. So just like everything else happening, whether in the U.S. with the Black Lives Movement or COVID, or certain economic times that are not ideal, we want to take a second to acknowledge the reality of what's happening, but also ask ourselves, how can I position myself to come out on top? Right. And that's a very important question. What can I do now so that as we move past this, myself and the people around me are in a better place than we are right now. And I would encourage everybody who's watching this or listening right now to do that. Take a couple minutes to yourself, sit down, look at what's happening around you, things that might be weighing on you, whether it's economically or with work, and take a second to stop, pause, and instead of spending too much time worrying about it, it's not gonna change if you worry about it. It's okay to worry about it, but it's not going to change by doing that. You want to take the proactive action of asking yourself, or even better, writing down on a piece of paper, how can I, right? And how can I overcome this situation? And start writing down some answers, right? And those answers that you put on the paper, you probably will have a nugget in there that'll help you, take things yourself, your brand to another level. And I'd love to hear these, because every time we've done this exercise before with people who seem to be going through a tough time, they're able to come up with the right solution themselves right in there. And it's often very exciting to hear what these are. So in the comments, I would love to hear if you're struggling with something and it's not too personal that you can share. Share with us in the comments below how you wrote down the how can I, and what a solution that you came up with for that challenge by just writing it out in front of you. All right, so that's what I'm gonna say. So how can I, and hopefully that helps put you in the right mindset for you to be set up for success.
I love it. That's perfect. And so you guys, please do it. Put it in the comments. And then I'm sure Preston will look back. I will too, and we'll be able to. The main thing here, I'll tell you, anytime I've done any of this kind of work that Preston or any of my friends from this particular group in particular have given me, I really literally have learned so much about myself, about what it is that I need to be doing differently possibly, and how it is that I maybe was not looking at something from a different point of view, and yet I didn't realize it. I thought that I was looking at it from this, but then to look at it and ask yourself, sometimes it comes from a different place, and we maybe have the answer all the time, but we may not even realize it until we do the exercise. So thank you for everything that you do, Preston. I'm just so excited to have you on, because I know that we did a very, very short one a long time ago. We were on at a street side cafe, and and that was fun. We had that in the Service Hero archives. However, we didn't really get to do a real show. So now you're seeing what it is.
You have come a long way. You have come a heck of it was cool back then, but this is like, next level. Holy cow, look at the banners and the images. Oh, Tamara, keep it up.
Well, thank you. It's a team because you helped me to make it happen. And then I am going to be today, guys, it's going to be the very first time that I've ended the show with something. So you're going to all get to see how it works on a live, and that's what I like too, because it's cool to share it with your friends, people that care and love you, and that they got your back no matter what. And also to say to others, hey, if that person can do it, if Tamara can do it, she thought she had to buy a hashtag long ago, and if she can do this now, anybody can. And so there you go. So thank you for that. So as we close today, June the 19th, the year 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 days of awesome. Celebrate success through service. Preston Martelly, we have determined, yes, you are a service hero. You are serving so many people in so many different ways. You also have today served all of those that have watched live and will watch and replay on this platform and many others. And to that, what they will see is that you are serving them with the confidence that they too can pivot. They too can take, and they can whatever it may be that they're doing, they can take it to that next level, and that all things are possible for them, that this is an exciting time, that yes, we have to acknowledge what's happening. However, what is been given to us is that it's happened to us, and these times are happening when we have the technology that can actually help us to visit with people all over the world. There's no limitations except for what we decide to limit in ourselves. And so you, my dear friend Preston, have shared with everybody today there are no limitations. Thank you.
No limitations.
No limitations. So guys, I'm going to put this up here. Let me do it right now. Let's do this together. And let's see how this works. Okay, show into stream. See ya later. So let's see here.